So Jacob, a absolute emphatic 1-0 victory at the Brian Boy Stadium. Can you just give me some of your thoughts on this match, please?
Yeah, it was obviously the first was we had to get the 3 points, for the league standing. It were really important. The whole team talk and the whole build up to the game was all about, it's a win at all costs really. They had to fight, they had to have a siege mentality. Coming here is a really tough place. The lads who have been here before know that, and they try and build an intimidating atmosphere, but it didn't really work for them today. They've picked up some big results, so it obviously does work. But today I think we had that mentality as well, that there were nothing going to stop us from winning. And I think the frustrating thing is for us is we show that performance level and we show the fight. I wish we'd have seen it more, because it's obvious we can do it. Like today it was a 1-0 win, but I think you could sense very early doors that we were going to win the game. And yeah, everyone worked really hard, and we took the chance when it came. And yeah, really happy with everyone's work today.
Yeah, but if you think about it, there definitely could have been more than one goal from either side.
Yeah, we had chances. They had a couple of chances. I think we definitely had more chances. We had so many corners, I lost count of how many, and set pieces. There were a few chances where we flashed the ball across the box where we should have had someone on there, but maybe it was a little bit wanting to defend the lead rather than go and kill the game with a second goal, which is understandable for a team of players who haven't won many games. When they are in a winning position, they're going to naturally sort of sit back and want to defend that lead. But yeah, I think we could, if we released the handbrake a little bit, I think we could have gone and got 2 or 3 maybe today. But it's 3 points at the end of the day, and that's what matters.
Yeah, definitely. But can we just point out the entire team effort from back to front?
Yeah, it's one of them ones where I'm not sure who's going to give the man of the match, but it'll be impossible to give man of the match today. I think right through the team, Barney was absolutely magnificent. That was probably the best I've ever seen him play, and that was that's the sort of game on a grass pitch where everyone needs to come together, and it really suited Barney today. It was brilliant. Holgate and Greeny are in the midfield, who have had some poor games. Everyone's had poor games, including them too, but they were back to their best today. They were really good. Greeny ratting and winning second balls. Holgate were covering spaces really well, and then Deb's up top, best game he's played in a long time. Again, grass pitch, slopey, bobbly, muddy, wet, tough opponents. It suited him. This is the thing. A lot of our players do suit this sort of game, and we've shown it before where we can turn up for these games. And yeah, it's not one to point out a particular player. I think everyone was really good today.
Yeah, no, definitely. But if I am personally going to point someone out, it isn't for his performance per se, but I do believe it was Kieran Fleming's first start for the club. Thoughts going into that?
Yeah, it was the decision to start Kieran it gave us another midfielder in there, which showed. Holgate and Greening didn't really get overrun in midfield. Kieran naturally is a midfielder, so he wanted to help out more. But the team we picked, obviously Emma at right back and Macca a bit further forward, Owen at left back. It was a team of more battlers and defenders and defensive-minded players who were going to snap into a tackle and be strong in a tackle and win the second balls and put the ball forward. So with all that, you need someone who can link the play and can take a touch and be neat on the ball, and Kieran is that. So yeah, I said to you before, there's definitely a lot more to come from him. But he's done really well in that first half, especially done really well.
Yeah, definitely. But also in my opinion, I believe Brad Emerson today made little to at no mistake. Rather than previous weeks, he's kind of had a couple slip ups.
Yeah.
Can you just?
Yeah, I think everyone in the team makes slip ups. I think as a keeper, it's more obvious sometimes. But Brad's won a lot of man of the matches, which is probably more of a bad message on us of how many chances we let him slip. But today, what he did well was actually more claiming the ball in corners and free kicks. He didn't really have too many chances to make. He did make a couple of really good saves. But it was more his commanding of the area, sweeping. Numerous times he came out and swept the ball from the back and cleared it. And the thing with Brad is, 99 times out of 100 he makes really good contact on the ball, and that might sound simple, but anyone who's been in net, when the ball's running at you and the player's running at you, to get good contact on the ball and clear it well every single time is a really hard thing to do, and it just helps us so much having his presence at the back. So Brad was tremendous as well.
Yeah, definitely. But finally we have 2 more games. A home game next Saturday against Darwin, then finishing off away at Bacup.
Yeah, Darwin will be tough. They've come on really well in the second half of the season. They obviously play on a 4G pitch as well, so they're going to be used to the pitch. They're going to be good. I think they'll be a really good test for us. I've not had a look at the league table in terms of their position, so I'm not sure if they're still fighting for the top 4.
I think they are around the playoffs.
Yeah, they're around the playoffs. So if they are still in it by the end of today, then they're going to be bang up for it, and that'll be a tough game. But for us, we've had a poor season. We can't do anything about it now. All we can do is just win the games and try and bring back a little bit of dignity and pride into what's been a tough season for the fans and for the committee and the volunteers more than anyone. That'll be with Darwin at home and Maggle away. End the season on a high. That's the motivation for that one. If we can take what we did today, at least we can end the season on a high, and we can begin the planning stage for next season.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Jeff.
No worries, mate.